Everybody knows about Greensboro. February 1st, 1960. Four college students sat down at a lunch counter in North Carolina and sparked a movement. But there's a story that comes 2 years earlier, one that almost nobody knows about. A story that was the first, a story that worked, and a story that America forgot. This is the Dockum Drug Store sit-in, Wichita, Kansas. July 19th, 1958. On a Saturday morning in the middle of the Midwest, a 19-year-old girl named Carol Parks pulled into the parking lot of Dockum Drug Store, a popular chain store on Douglas Street. She walked through those revolving doors and did something that should have been simple. She sat down at the lunch counter and ordered a Coca-Cola. The waitress was about to serve it. Then she stopped. She realized the store policy was clear. They didn't serve black people at the counter. According to historical records, Parks's cousin, 20-year-old Ronald Walters, president of the Wichita NAACP Youth Council, had organized this moment. They'd planned for 2 years. They'd practiced in the basement of St. Peter Claver Church, role-playing taunts and insults. They were prepared, they were determined, and they were about to change everything. "It was Mississippi up north," Walters said, "so we tried to break it down." On that first day, Walters and Parks-Hahn brought 10 more students. They came one by one until every seat at that lunch counter was full. Neat, polite, quiet. They didn't yell. They didn't protest verbally. They just sat there, day after day, asking for the same simple service every other customer received. And they waited. The waitress closed the blacks-only fountain, left the whites-only fountain open. Management refused service, but the students didn't leave. The next day, they came back, and the day after that. For 3 weeks, through July and into August 1958, these teenagers sat at those counters while segregationists gathered around them, taunting and threatening. The police came but refused to intervene. The store manager begged them to act. They wouldn't. According to records from the Wichita-Sedgwick County Historical Museum, when white college students from Wichita State University heard about the sit-in, they joined in. The black-owned newspapers, the Enlightener and the Midwest News Press, covered it regularly. But the major newspapers, the Eagle and the Beacon, refused to publish anything. They didn't want to give the protest publicity. The students understood something crucial. Money talks louder than morality. As Walters recalled years later, "This is what we were hoping for, a shutoff of the flow of dollars into this operation. By the second week, we felt that we were winning because we were being allowed to sit on the stools for long periods. Surely the store was losing money." On August 11th, 1958, 3 weeks into the protest, the store manager walked in and made a decision that would change history. According to Chester Lewis, the young attorney and head of the Wichita NAACP, the manager said simply, "Serve them. I'm losing too much money." Lewis called Walter Heiger, the vice president of the entire Dockum Drug Store chain, to confirm the new policy. Heiger gave the order. All Dockum stores across Kansas would serve customers of all races. The entire chain desegregated, not because they had a change of heart, but because the students understood that segregation was a business model, and it only survives when it's profitable. This should have made national headlines. Instead, it was buried. 2 years later, in February 1960, 4 students in Greensboro, North Carolina, held a sit-in at a lunch counter. The nation paid attention. News outlets covered it. History books celebrated it. The Greensboro sit-in is remembered as the spark that ignited the sit-in movement. But the truth is, the fire started 2 years earlier in Wichita. According to historian Gretchen Ike, the Dockum sit-in set a precedent that really began what would be a very significant strategy, a strategy that would change the way business was done in the United States. The Wichita students had already won. They had already proven it could work. They had already inspired sit-ins in Oklahoma City and across the Great Plains, but nobody knew about it. 40 years later, in 1998, Wichita finally acknowledged what those students had done. A 20-foot bronze sculpture was erected at a cost of $3 million, depicting the lunch counter and the protesters. It sits at a site that's now an Ambassador Hotel. It's a monument to forgotten courage, to young people who refuse to accept that's just the way things are. To Ronald Walters and Carol Parks-Hahn, who understood that sometimes the most powerful weapon isn't violence or anger. It's simply refusing to move. They sat down for equality. And the whole system had to change. Now here's my question for you. Why didn't we learn this in school? This is the story that should have been taught alongside every other civil rights narrative. This is the sit-in that started first. The one that worked. The one that was forgotten. Comment below. Did you know about the Dockum sit-in before today? And why do you think America's history books overlooked this victory? Like this video. Share it with someone who needs to know that civil rights victories came from the Midwest too. From teenagers. From young people who had nothing but courage and conviction. Subscribe to Ikamafuna History TV. We uncover the stories they erased, the victories they buried, the heroes they forgot. Every week, we dig deeper into the truth that official narratives ignore. Because history isn't what they taught you. History is what actually happened. And the Dockum sit-in proves that sometimes the most powerful movements start in places nobody's watching. They start with ordinary people doing extraordinary things. These students changed America. Make sure their names are remembered.